Guys, this is the Bullish Impulse with yet another update on Ethereum Classic. We've seen quite a bounce over the past 24 hours or so, pretty much across all the cryptocurrencies, with Ethereum Classic being no exception. This is the 30-minute chart, and as always, these charts will be available in the description below, so check out the links there for the short-term and the long-term daily charts for Ethereum Classic. But when we look at this, we have a bounce. We have a green shoot of hope in place. Just referring back to where we've been over the past several weeks, we had a low that we hit on June 18th, and the bounce from that actually does count best as an impulse. That's what I have here. So this would be our presumed fifth wave top, with this presumably being the third and this being the fourth. So you can cleanly count that as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It follows all the rules of Elliott wave theory in that we have a 5 of impulse, and we are very likely in what is a second wave pullback. The reason I say that is because we have not yet retraced our low that we hit back on June 18th, and that sits around 1245. So I've moved the red support line down there. We really don't want to go any deeper in this. We've already gone deeper than standard for a second wave, so it's already hanging on by a thread. We need this thing to blast back up through. This is more than a 76.4% retrace. Now, when we look back a little bit, I am calling the bottom either this bottom here or this bottom here. As a matter of fact, here it probably makes the most sense calling this the bottom. This does look like it could be an impulse, which is what you'd expect for the last leg of the pullback. That varies from crypto to crypto. What do we expect to see next? Well, aside from a big rebound to make things more confidently bullish, we need to see follow through from the rest of the crypto space as well. Our first test is, of course, going to be this box here that we call the pivot, which falls between the 0.618 and 0.764 extensions of our larger 1-2, as we see here. That would take us between 1672 and 1752. If we can confidently punch right through this, that'd be a very good sign for us, because if we get through there, look for a third wave top to take us between $20 and $22, fourth of consolidation, and a final fifth wave top somewhere between $22 and $24 as pictured here. Now, I wouldn't expect us to blast right through this box right away. We need to see a smaller degree first wave, so that could bounce off the bottom of the box. We may have a couple of tests of resistance before we can punch through. Now, that is for Ethereum Classic. The alternate scenarios that we're actually in the midst of further downside action. So I have this red alternate pattern here, which says that this is an A, B, and a C. And this could be a 1-2 setup to go lower. Until we can get a little bit lower than where we are, I can't really confirm that. When we set up our Fibonacci extension tool in the other direction, so assuming that is a 1-2 in place, we actually did break down through our pivot. So again, the pivot here would be the same 0.618 to 0.764 extensions, but we've broken back through it. So that does seriously hurt the chances that we have an immediate downside setup. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, so keep your eyes peeled. Now, as for other cryptos, look at Bitcoin. Looked a little bit more ominous. We had this really looks like a big zigzag up, so it could be an A, B, C. There's a chance this is a first wave in a larger diagonal pattern. Definitely a possibility. We're gonna have to wait for this to develop before getting a bit more confidence in what we're seeing. Ethereum's in the same story. Probably, actually here it looks more like there's an A, B, and a C. So our second wave could be down here, although this didn't get as low as our low on June 30th. So I'm not going to spend too much time on those. Bitcoin Cash that I've been mentioning has looked less bullish than the other coins, at least in the near term, and it actually hit a nominally lower low. So we need to see a rebound. We're already seeing that. That's a good thing. Litecoin just did an update on this not that long ago in a similar situation as the other cryptos. When we look at Dash, looks a lot like Bitcoin and Ethereum, although here too, it looks a little suspicious, a little ominous, because we have an A, B, and a C that looks truncated. And if we get a little lower low, that would invalidate our immediate upside setup. So Dash the floor is creaking, to put it lightly, but we do have a good bounce in place. And finally, Chainlink, which I like to refer to because it often moves in advance of a lot of the other cryptos, at least as far as over the past year or so. And here we could call this a big 1-2. Clearly, we've had a lower low. So we can call that more recent low our second wave. This looks reasonably corrective. That is where we stand in the short-term picture. Now, shifting real quick to the stock market, we have kind of a suspicious setup here too. It's not the most confidence-inspiring thing, excuse me, I don't know if that's black pepper or what, but we had an ABC, clearly 3 waves up, doesn't look like a 5-wave pattern, pullback, which is probably a B wave, and we're struggling to reach escape velocity. We did have some reason to be more optimistic today because our bounce off today's low could be counted as an impulse up, could be 5 waves up, and we may be complete with some kind of a correction in the second wave. So we should see some powerful action tomorrow. If this is the case with the stock market, why is this important? Cryptos and stocks have had very close inflection points. And they've been largely aligned over the past decade, which we're going to touch on again in the long-term chart. Speaking of the long-term chart, nothing has changed since our last update. I did make some big changes to our overall interpretation of, well, what the structure for Ethereum Classic was. Purple remains our primary. We haven't gone any lower. We haven't broken any supports. And even if we had that lower low, it really wouldn't break the purple pattern. Again, we're seeing this as a B wave. So we have plenty of cushion below before worrying too much about anything particularly problematic. It's not the case with other cryptos. EOS infamously broke its support. Other coins are getting very dangerously close, but Ethereum Classic is not in that posture at the moment. So our orange alt holds. We could see a little bit lower without jeopardizing anything. Big picture, we're looking at this entire thing, this top back in early January of 2018 as our 3rd wave top. As I mentioned, there's some alignment between what we're seeing in the cryptos as well as the stock market. And I went over these common inflection points in my video on the everything top. Check that out if you're curious, in which I went over the fact that we had a major 3rd wave top in the stock market as well as other asset classes in that same time frame, end of 2017, early 2018, before we had one heck of a roller coaster. We had a 4th wave bottom, and it's mixed in cryptos. Many coins seem to have their 4th wave bottom about when the stock market hit it, March of 2020. Other ones may have had it earlier. Other ones, like EOS, are still completing it at the moment. And that would leave us one final top to go. This would be the final 5th wave. And that everything top will align very closely with, well, everything, including Ethereum Classic, most likely, shifting back to the coin of our discussion, the primary focus, Ethereum Classic. We do have some channel trend lines. So again, just to refresh, that is our major 3rd wave top. We don't have enough history to really tell where the 1st and 2nd waves were. Therefore, I'm assuming that this is actually a 4th wave down that we finished in March of 2020 or possibly December 2018. There is a double bottom there, which is a little unique amongst the cryptos. And therefore, modeling off of Dash, assuming that's a 38.2% retrace with this fib extension tool back here, expect somewhere between 45 and 236 to be our final topping target. I would obviously lean a little higher because we already hit one of those tops pretty close to the 0.618. Our all-time high appears to have been about 184. That was in 2021. And therefore, this is I'm interpreting this entire pullback as an A wave, or I'm sorry, a 4th wave, with this being an A wave, our current pullback being a B wave, with one final 5-wave C wave impulse to complete this entire top. We do still have somewhat of an MACD divergence, not the most trustworthy thing. The most exciting thing, however, with Ethereum Classic is that it tends to explode. So when it gets going, it may take a while to gain momentum, but once it does, it goes to the moon. There is a historical precedent. Not all the coins do this, but Ethereum Classic certainly has. What do we expect in the future? Well, we need to see, again, that 5-wave impulse complete. As I mentioned, I believe I said somewhere around $22. So if we can get a larger 5-wave impulse and a pullback, that will leave us in very good standing. You'll have a more confident buying opportunity. And if I look at this on the smaller picture chart, that would not be enough to get us in that green box overhead. So let's assume we get up to about $22, $24, something like that, 50% retrace. That would be the first wave of a larger first wave to get us in the box. So that may be a good time to load up. Otherwise, your highest confidence time to load up on Ethereum Classic would be once we finish this first wave impulse and we have a deeper retrace for our second wave. That's when you want to put your lump sums in if you are looking to buy aggressively. Otherwise, keep doing your dollar cost average thing or hold. Don't go too crazy. Don't do anything driven by panic or FOMO. And most importantly, diversify. Don't put everything in Ethereum Classic. I've gotten comments from people in a lot of my videos where they are really in the red deeply because they put a lot of money in a certain crypto. Granted, everything crashed. It wasn't just Ethereum Classic or the cryptos. Stock market crash. Even the energy sector has been in a pullback lately. Oil, have you seen the gas price? They've been on the way down. So we're in quite a correction across different market segments. So wait for that. Diversify. There's a lot of other coins to buy: Dash, Chainlink, Stellar, EOS, many, unless you're in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Once we finish that 1-2, expect us to complete. Once you buy there around possibly $30, could get up from there 10x plus just for the third wave alone. So it will be worth waiting. You'll have plenty more upside to come if we get the setup in place. And as I mentioned earlier, there may be a clue on timing. This whole pattern does seem to fall within a trend channel. And by that assumption, if we do hit our confluences up above, assuming we have a 1-to-1 equivalence between our A wave up and our eventual C wave, that'll take us somewhere on the bottom of this box. That could put our timeline in, looks like sometime in 2023. I don't want to get too aggressive. Second half of 2023. However, knowing that Ethereum Classic does have that habit of exploding, perhaps we overrun. Other cryptos are giving us similar projections in timeline. The stock market is also pointing maybe Q1, Q2 of 2023 as a top. It's kind of all over the place. Certain asset classes will run ahead. You may see oil have a major top before that. Perhaps the finance sector, maybe bonds will run ahead. Maybe we get that big metals rally we've all been waiting for. Whatever it is, we're going to have a lot of major tops being hit. And after that, we could be in a prolonged bear market. There'll be plenty more details to come on that. But right now, we need to get off the ground. Let's get some rally structure going. Then we can have more confident targets overhead. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you are heavily invested in Ethereum Classic, break it up, spread, share the wealth, diversify. It's the best protection you have. If you enjoyed my video, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss my updates. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.